Well, that was
Hey,
pretty funny, dude. That was pretty funny.
Oh my God.
I'm like, we're not live. What's going on here? Oh, geez, I'm an idiot. Oh, what's happening here?
We were sitting there talking for like, what, 5 minutes or so? Like,
Yeah,
just
probably
chatting
5
it
minutes.
up.
We're just flapping our gums over here on the other side, dude. No big deal. Oh my gosh. All righty, guys, we're live now. No, anyways, our little what is this called? Restream. There's all these anyways, I didn't hit the button to say let's go. So my bad, guys. We are here though now. Okay. Bolt up, Chargers. Here we go.
Let's go. Week two, baby. Yeah,
Week two.
it's always weird when you have kind of like a long week now, and you always feel like, man, the next game's gonna take forever. So it's just kind of one thing that I'm going to look at this week is the Colts Jags game, and I watched a little bit of the first Jags game too, just kind of get an idea of the Jags and kind of their strengths, weaknesses, and such. So I'm looking forward to seeing that game and watching that and just kind of seeing what our next competition looks like. So, and we will actually be having a stream, I believe, on Wednesday with another Jags podcast too. So we will be chatting about the Jaguars Chargers game coming up next week. So we'll see how all that pans out, and we'll see kind of how it goes with all the injuries and such too. So
yeah, and guys, like I said, throw your thoughts, questions out there, guys. There's a lot to talk about this week.
Yeah,
I mean, and it's funny. James, you know this. Like we're constantly reading threads. What fans are talking about, what they're saying, and this was a hard loss, right? And it was hard because there's so many injuries that were so odd, right? Corey Linsley left. It's funny. I'm looking at this injury report right now on Fan Nation. Charger report basically says Corey Linsley, some sort of knee injury. I know he'd had some problems with his knee. What do you call it? Achilles tendonitis, or no, knee tendonitis, something like that.
Knee tendonitis, yeah. And I want to say in camp there was like a time that he got he was just kind of didn't show up to practice or something, or wasn't there, and then he came back in, and I'm sure it was probably some sort of injection, kind of possibly being a little cautious and everything like that too. But yeah, I mean, Corey Linsley's got a little bit of an injury there. I do think that there's a level of like Brandon Staley just being cautious as much as he possibly can with his players. I mean, it's early in the season and everything like that. But I think that's kind of what it really was, is that it was just flare up. Yeah, just like DZ just says right now, it's kind of flare up the knee and the quad. So, being cautious more or less. So we'll see how it pans out for him. I mean, it's a long week, so it's a good way to be able to ice that sucker up, throw some I don't know, aspirin or whatever's necessary. Or anything.
Ben Gay.
Yeah, Ben Gay, icy hot. I don't know, whatever. Get it all hooked up.
Actually, what's funny about that? I actually have Achilles tendonitis in both of my Achilles, right? So it's interesting. Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting, man. Like, look, nobody's playing 100%, right? Everyone's playing hurt, right? And I guess my thought on the game specifically, and we talked about this before, is that, man, that him going out immediately changed the game completely, right?
Shifted everything.
Will Clapp came in, and Will Clapp, he's fine. He's an okay center, but he's not, Corey Linsley, right? So, it was frustrating that happened. And Trey Pipkins, let's see, what did he get? He got some ankle injury, right? And again, guys, we don't want to talk about injuries forever, right? But at the end of the day, it's something that, look, everyone's asking us about. Everyone wants to know the updates on. So, so Linsley suffered a knee injury, and I guess some sort of injection. Pipkins, a lateral foot sprain. Lateral foot sprain. A lateral. That's what I'm thinking. A lateral foot sprain.
What's going on here?
Is that like a lateral foot sprain? But I guess it's similar to what Joey Bosa dealt with last season. So, yeah. So and again, if you guys watch our video from yesterday, right? Or no, I guess it was yesterday, the day before. Yeah. So, Herbert, right? The one that we're more concerned with, of course, has got, rib cartilage damage. You know, at least it's not a broken rib, right? So you know, it's frustrating. I think he'll definitely be playing against the Jags. So yeah, you're right, James. We need to watch that game and see how the Jags perform and see what they do. And you know, I mean, okay, here we go. So I don't know. It's an interesting week of injuries, but man, just so frustrating. By the way, I watched. Have you seen the new video that came out on the Chargers? What was it? What was the one that came out just recently?
Was it another All In?
No, it was. What was the one that came out here? Just hold on. Just let me pull it up here. You probably haven't seen it then. It was it was so downbeat with Haley Airwood and
the Chargers recap or whatever it is.
Yeah, recap. Yeah, they were just so downbeat. It was unbelievable. I was like, oh my gosh, guys.
I think you guys should be the positive.
I was like, bro, like relax. It's okay. Yeah.
We're good. We're good. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I watched that too. I mean, they were definitely pretty down about it and everything, but I think it was also, they were saying that they got home pretty late and it was like super early in the morning for them. And so they were like, I'm sure they were just like all, you know, dazed still or whatnot. And
maybe hungover.
Yeah, maybe hungover.
Drink a whole bottle of bleach after the game. Forget about it. I'm done. Haley Elwood's good looking though. I'll tell you what, dude. Woo, man.
This guy, dude, always.
Wouldn't kick her out of bed for eating crackers, right, boys? Back me up on that.
Yeah, you know, it's tough kind of coming out of that because you kind of feel like we had it and then we let it go and we had injuries, which made us feel like we limped out of the game. And you know, just to say extra things about, you know, Justin Herbert, and I know you did a video about it already with the injury. I mean, based upon me looking at my WebMD skill sets here, it's something that could take about 6 months to
He got cancer. He got cancer.
Who did?
No, I'm just joking. Like anything on WebMD is like cancer. It's cancer.
Yeah, I got toe fungus. Yeah, it's cancer. Oh, snap.
You're gonna die of cancer.
Hangnail cancer. Whoa. But yeah, it sounds like it's kind of like a 6 month to be fully healed from the injury, 4 to 6 weeks to just be able to not have pain from the injury. Because I guess blood is very, very difficult to get to the cartilage, so it takes a lot longer for the blood cycle to be able to get to it and such. But it's just going to take time. I mean, one thing that I kind of dug up and actually saw through the interwebs is that
the interwebs.
that Tony Romo back in 2014 had the same injury. He had it 2 months prior to even telling everybody about it. So it's kind of really about kind of a close proximity of the time of when Herbert had it, and he still played through it. They still ended up 12-4 for the season. So and he actually had one of his better statistical seasons too, where he had 3,705 yards, 34 touchdowns, 9 picks, one of the highest ratings he had, longest yards of attempts, completion percentage is almost 70%. So, you know, I look at it like this. We have a long week. I think Herbert's going to be fine. We saw some lasers that he ended up throwing even after it, to where it was so confusing for every single person watching that game because it was he couldn't run to get the fourth down or a third down conversion to get the first down. It looks like he's wincing in pain, doesn't even throw the ball. And then the next thing is just a straight laser 40-something yard pass to DeAndre Carter. And it's just like, I don't know what he's doing, but he still is one of those guys that just is an absolute Terminator for some reason. He's built different. And so, it's crazy to watch. It's crazy to watch. But I mean, it's interesting because I think it was in Canada, or it was like, I can't remember which betting line. I'll say it's like FanDuel or Canada or something like that. That his percentage to win the MVP actually went up after that game.
Seriously?
Just the way that he played. Yeah, which is incredible. So it's odd. I mean, his run rate right now is that he could get up to like 54, 56 touchdowns or whatever with like 9 picks or something like that. Like, I mean, it's incredible to see kind of what he's been able to do in 2 games. And I personally, my opinion, I think he'll play next week. I think he'll get through it. Yeah,
no, I think so too. Right. And, you know, You know that I play sports. I've had a rib injury before, and you can get through it. It's inconvenient. It's inconvenient. That's what it is, right? So, they'll probably actually. Funny enough, remember when Tyrod Taylor was going to start against the Chiefs? He got that injection because of his ribs. Apparently, he's suing the team doctor right now because of that injection that he got, because it was it went into his lungs. He couldn't breathe. And I kept thinking to myself, like, oh my God, hopefully that team doctor is not there, right? To give Justin Herbert the same kind of rib injection, but he's going to get an injection for sure. Like, he definitely will. There's some local anesthetics I'm sure they'll just hit him up with, and give him some painkillers.
And apparently in that same article, it did talk about that he is still the team doctor. So he's going to be the same guy looking over Justin Herbert. Let's just make sure he's not the one giving the injection. Yeah. So let's not have that happen. But I guess, Tyrod Taylor's trying to get $5 million out of him for
$5 million, dude.
Yeah,
man.
So he had emotional damage from it, apparently.
Emotional damage.
That's what he said in the article. I'm not.
He really said emotional damage.
Yeah, he said emotional damage, and I was like, okay.
That's the way you said that. Emotional damage, guys. Put your questions down below, right? For sure. So we're just we're chopping it up right now. So let's go to Aether's question here. Me and James talked about this before the season. We start every good team with tough loss, but every great team, how you bounce back. Yeah, look, right. Mahomes, look, let me just say this about this game. I really believe that we lost that game on our own. The Chiefs did not beat us, right? And one of the things that I would frustrates me is you cannot beat yourself, especially in the NFL. You cannot beat yourself. And we beat ourselves. Guys, there were 4 interceptions that we could have had. I mean, Asante Samuel almost had 2. One easily would have been a pick 6.
Yep.
And I mean, KVN almost had an interception as well. And guys, like it's that game was so frustrating in so many different ways. And the crown jewel, the big punch right in the keister is that Justin Herbert got injured, right? So, and look, it's probably a good thing. And to your point, Aether, it's probably a good thing that it happened now rather than later, right? And we got to get our shit together. And I feel like this game was one of those kind of wake up calls. We're like, hey, yeah, we're great, but we need to remind ourselves that every play matters, every play call matters, everyone on the field matters, and everyone needs to step up and win as a team. So, anyways, just my thoughts.
One other thought about that too. I was thinking about week 2 last year against the Cowboys and how the refs basically gave that game up to them too.
100%.
So, the thing about it is there is a level of preseason and getting comfortable once again in the game for the refs too. So they're still trying to figure it out too. And, and DZ just brought up that Adderley with that clear interception, which basically Bryce Callahan got chucked and then got called as a pass interference on that one. Yeah, that was a BS call too. I mean,
total crap.
The thing about it is, like, this game could have literally been favored so many different ways with the Chargers without the penalties. Now, once again, 100%. That's how the cookie crumbles. I'm not going to complain about it. It just that's just how it happens. And we could have easily had probably 4 picks in that game, made Patrick Mahomes look bad, and the whole league would have been on notice about the Chargers. And we had 3 picks in the first game against the Raiders. We could have easily had 4 picks and a couple pick sixes potentially in that game too. So it is what it is. We lose early on in the season. I feel like we're going to split that series anyways with the Chiefs, move on to the next game. Like I said, if we play the Jags next week and it seems like it's just not connecting or we're not doing well or we end up losing that game or something like that, that's when I think there's a little bit of a panic button at that point.
For sure.
Because, we'll see. We'll see. Apparently, DZ is saying that Winston has 4 fractures in his back right now, and he's still starting, apparently. So, wow. I mean, what Jameis Winston, he's wow. He's probably got the biggest pillow around his belly, by the way, still. So he's
a big pillow. I think
big
I'm
pillow.
like
I don't know what those
like
things are called, dude. I mean,
yeah, what is that called?
what is it? Marshmallow looking thing? I don't know what it is. Like it's
It's a big inflatable donut.
yeah, donut. He's got a donut around his waist.
A big donut. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah, it's funny.
But that's kind of gnarly to see. And I mean, Winston, he's trying to find a way to be able to find a way into a team, and he's really just got to find his way to get back out there. So, I mean, once again, these quarterbacks go through a lot each year, and there's always going to be nicks and bruises, and even potential things like this with fractures in his back. I mean, that's scary to think about for him. But my opinion, going into the Jags game, I really feel like Herbert's going to play. I feel like he's going to have enough time. An injection will get it done. A little bit of icy hot on his stomach while he's out there. Rub it on there, good to go. It was interesting. It was in the preseason, I believe, that Matt Money Smith talked a while back about the depth chart. It was actually when the depth chart got announced, and how people were like, "Wow, why is Easton Stick on there? Why is Chase Daniel on there? We don't need 3 quarterbacks." And he said, the thing about it is like if mid-season or mid-game, Herbert goes down, it's going to be Chase Daniel on the field. If you have a week to practice, it's probably going to end up being Easton Stick to start.
Yeah.
And it's like the positioning of the 2 and the 3 is kind of a little bit relative, because I think it's 2A, 2B, and it's more situational type situation. So if Herbert does end up sitting for the Jags game, it'll be interesting to see if Easton Stick does get the nod. And I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how that pans out. So we'll see.
What do you guys think below? Would you rather see Chase Daniels or Easton Stick if Justin Herbert were to sit? I do think that Herbert will play. But, at the end of the day, it's something to think about. So I'm on ESPN right now, by the way. And so we want to talk about rankings. So a couple things, guys. Part of why we want to do this, at least on a weekly, we want to look at our team and say, all right, how are we performing all 3 phases of the game, right? Where do we really stand? And because, again, as we know, last season, we were horrible on defense and special teams, right? It's kind of interesting. You look at the offense, we're pretty, we're the top half offensive wise, right? I mean, again, it's a little skewed because we played 2 games. We're the only team that's played 2 games at this point with the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs are a few above us. But we're averaging around 378 yards a game on offense, which, again, in 2 weeks, can't really say a whole lot about that. Defensively, we're actually stacking up fairly well. So we're only allowing 319 points a game, okay? Or yards per game. Special teams, we're actually doing much better. Kickoffs, we're actually, top 10% in the league, which is amazing. And we're actually winning in the turnover margin, right? So we're +2 at this point, which is amazing. And I keep coming back to this thought of, oh my God, like how much more we would be better on the turnover margin if those picks, if we'd gotten them, right? Any one of those picks would have completely changed and flipped the field, and the outcome would have been completely different, right? So again, we don't want to lick our wounds forever, but at the end of the day, look, we're trending the right direction. When we talk about Brandon Staley talking about all 3 phases of the game, we're there, okay? We're there.
Yep.
We're 100% better. And again, 4th and Staley, right? We talked about this. Guys, do you want to see more all gas, no brakes? I mean, the one that you talked about specifically on that last video, James, was when we were, I think, on our 20-yard line and we kicked a field goal. It was 4th and 1 or whatever.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with you. In fact, I 100% believe we should have gone for it then. What do you guys think down below, right? Let us know what you think as far as should we have gone for it that early in the game? I think we should have, because it's early in the game. Our defense is playing great. Let's just,
go.
Kill these guys. Just forget about it. Done deal.
Right.
Death blow.
I mean, and the thing is, though, simply how I put in the video is you take chances early on in the game.
Yeah,
and
100%.
It just makes sense to go after that one. If you don't get it, well, I mean, they're kind of in a field position that puts them a little bit, their backs behind, like actually close to their goal line that they got to protect. So it's one of those things. You just try to force them to try to make a mistake. You force them to, do something about trying to slow you down. And I would much rather take that risk early on versus when you have to try that fourth down, which is what we basically did later in the game, right?
100%.
We basically, had to convert some fourth downs, which, for some reason, Justin Herbert is an absolute terminator, and he just finds a way to be able to make that happen. We should make a shirt with Justin Herbert holding the football with basically like a Terminator arm of some sort. And he's just like fourth and Herbert,
Fourth and Herbert.
Jeez, that guy just knows what to do on fourth downs.
Dude, he's amazing. And again, and I talked about this once before, right? Not having Allen out there on the field was huge, right? Allen is the third down Terminator, to use your term there. He's so good at just finding a zone and just sitting there. He finds the soft part of the zone and just makes it happen. And it's just, not having him there for that game was huge, and so actually interesting to see, where does he stand at this point? I haven't seen a whole lot of injury updates with him. Let's take a look at that. Anybody know what his situation is at this point? I mean, I think he's going to play this next week. Actually, a couple thoughts I had is that he probably could have played last week, but I think it was more precautionary type of situation for sure. So,
and this is kind of like how, there's that side of like with these injuries and everything. And I hate to make this episode kind of talking about, injuries and such, but, Brandon Staley's a little soft sometimes about getting these guys to go out there. And I know it's week 2. It's a long season ahead still, but Brandon Staley is very, very cautious with his players. He wants his players to be able to play at a top level that he possibly can. And make sure that you got the right guys on the field. So, like, going back to I don't think we talked about Trey Pipkins' injury or anything like that. Other than
Pipkins ain't easy, dude. Pipkins ain't easy.
Pipkins ain't easy, dude. So, but I think he's got like a lateral foot injury of some sort.
Yeah.
So, but if you look at the tape on quarter 3, for some reason or another, it seemed like he just wasn't giving a lot of effort. It seemed like he was kind of a little bothered by something. It just kind of seemed like he was a little off at that point. And that's when Storm came in. And as you see, when he was out, you could still see Trey Pipkins on the sideline and still had his pads on, his helmet with him and everything like that too. So he was probably able to still go out there and play, but it was more or less just, you didn't really have to go out there, I guess. He felt like Storm Norton. And that's the side of it is having a guy that's been out there and has some sort of experience like Storm Norton is a good thing to be able to have a guy that could kind of fill in if necessary. So I think the thing is, though, I don't think Trey Pipkins is going to have that much of an issue, but my bigger concern on the line is going to be Lindsley. Like if Lindsey is not going to be out there next week, Jags have a pretty good linebacking core. I really like their linebacker, Josh Allen. He's an absolute stud. And then you go with their first round pick, actually, who was another Georgia boy. You know what I'm saying?
Another Georgia boy.
Yeah. So Trayvon Walker out there, and he had a pretty good game last week too. So
he did. Yeah, he
did.
And
they even have Devin Lloyd too, which is crazy. I mean, they really built up a very, very good linebacking core there, and so they could get pressure if they want to. So, but we'll see kind of how it all pans out with those guys, and that's what the week ahead will tell us a little bit about. We'll probably get the injury report, I believe, on Wednesday. I think Tuesday, Wednesday. I believe.
Tuesday. Yeah, probably Tuesday.
And, so we'll see kind of where it goes from there.
Yeah. So again, Keenan Allen's interesting. The one guy. So let me ask you this question. Okay. So Palmer took his spot. In the slot. Guys, what do you guys think in the chat? Palmer did horrible taking his position in the slot, by the way.
Yeah,
I watched him quite a bit because the thing that Allen is so good at is he runs and he just finds a spot and he just sits, right? And he knows how to move the sticks, right? Palmer did not do that. He just kept running his route and he just didn't do what Allen does. Yeah. So here's my question. And guys, this is for you guys down below. Should we bring up Mike Bandy from the practice squad if Allen can't play? Because my thought is Bandy is that type of guy. He's that guy that'll move the sticks. He's the dude that will find the soft spot in the zone and make things work, right? So, I mean, that's an option. And I thought about this quite a bit last night. I think that actually wouldn't be a bad idea because he's more like a Keenan Allen than a Josh Palmer. So what are your thoughts on that? And what are you guys' thoughts on that in the chat as well?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if something like that does come around. I mean, I think if Allen's injury is maybe a little bit worse, that would probably be good. I know they brought up Jason Moore, who I don't think I saw him on the field at all in the last game.
Yep.
You know, and DZ kind of brings up the point too, is that I think that the chemistry was just off on that day.
Yep.
And I said that I remember saying that kind of early on in the game too. I said, hey, look, like I feel like they're just not on the same page for some reason. They still got to figure it out. But you know, Palmer was last season. He really got it turned on late in the season, and I do still feel like, hey, week 2, things are still kind of getting sorted. People are still trying to figure each other out. I feel like there is still a level of like understanding the offense and playing with Justin Herbert. Palmer played a fair amount in preseason, but he was playing with Chase Daniels or Easton Stick. So I don't know. We'll see how it kind of pans out with those guys.
Yeah, and DZ, this is a great point, right? Other than injuries, I'm concerned with the offensive scheme and play calling. I agree. I feel like, again, you guys know my frustration with Joe Lombardi, right? I feel like, bottom line, he has been extremely conservative, and there's so many weird plays, like that backward pass, that trick play that went through. It's like, whew, that was just horrible looking. I mean, I understand why you would want to do something like that, but boy, it just seemed really strange the way that they ran that play, and I just don't even understand what was supposed to do at that point. But you know, and now again, guys, one thing to keep in mind too, statistically speaking, we are doing very well, right? We have definitely improved from last season of statistics on defense, special teams, everything. So again, all 3 phases of the game, we are right where we need to be successful moving forward. Having said that, I do feel like our play schemes have been a little weird, right? Our run game has been horrible this year so far. Yeah. I mean, Eckler was averaging 2.5 yards a carry, which is like not good. And I think it's an offensive line issue. I think that's, play call issue. I think it's a lot of things. But, this week during the Jags, Herbert will play. At least I believe he'll play. Quick hitters, right? I think a lot of screen passes, a lot of little dump down, check plays, get the ball out of his hands quick. I promise you that Brandon Staley's going to say, dude, do not hold the ball, throw it out if you have to, but do not take a hit. But the other thing too, they may move him around, maybe do some bootleg plays and so on and so forth. But yeah, I agree. I mean, the play calling has been a little weird. It's been a little suspect at this point. So I'm a little frustrated. I do think that Staley probably sit down with Joe Lombardi and figure that out. I don't know. What are your thoughts there, James?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I think they have to be working on at this moment, about trying to figure out how to be better in the third quarter and fourth quarter. Because it seems like the third quarter's just been soft again. And whatever it is, like just not coming out of the gate right, just feeling a little bit like slow, just odd play calls. I feel like there was a lot of times where they were trying to do rushing plays. They were trying to get quick to the line. I don't know why they were doing that when you're kind of ahead. Like, it's just like little things like that just kind of don't make sense. And, I think there was one possession that we played quick to the line and we were 3 and out. Really, it was like, I swear it was under a minute. And I was like, that's not good for the defense. Like, the defense is going to get gassed out of this because you're just saying, hey guys, you guys are out there, do it again, when you're basically just barely got a drink of Kool-Aid or Kool-Aid. Maybe they went out Kool-Aid. What is this?
Drink of Kool-Aid.
What's this, a football game?
A drink of Kool-Aid. Come on now, Kool-Aid. What are you talking about here?
Got to get that red flavored.
You get that cherry.
But it's just those things that they putting more stress on the defense to make plays, basically. Yeah, and that's not 100%. And so I feel like I hate those, and I think Easy was talking about plays behind the line too. I am not expecting somebody to miss a tackle. And so I bet there is something that we can't do those type of plays. I always feel like you got to be kind of the downfield kind of guys. The downfield throws, slants, outwards, not just not just behind the line expect somebody to miss a tackle kind of thing.
100%. Yeah, and it's interesting because by the way, DZ brought up a really good point here. I kind of like the idea of both playing Stick and Daniels because I think they do things differently, right? Stick is very good at running the ball. In fact, I'm kind of frustrated to some degree. I kind of like the idea of using him as kind of like a Taysom Hill type of guy from the Saints. Why don't we use him as a tight end, kind of a another runner on the field, right? Another offensive player. I think he could do very well with that as well too. So, but I do like the idea of both having Stick and Daniels out there together on the field. I like that because I think Daniels isn't that accurate, Stick isn't that accurate, but I think both of them could do fairly well together. So could be interesting. All right, so let's see what Aether's got here as well too. There's another question here. Yeah, JC touchdown with Staley said after the game it was misassignment because the safety was supposed to be there and wasn't supposed to happen. And share your thoughts, please. It's interesting. I've been seeing a lot of articles that people are just blowing up, saying JC Jackson had an awful game and yada yada. But I don't know. I mean, it's the first game back, and he's still dealing with an injury, so. I think this next game will be probably really, what'll be interesting to see. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, James? As far as Aether's question.
Yeah, it's bringing on J.C. Jackson for his first game, first time kind of being in the offense, and actually first time being in the defense, and being with all the other starters too, other than being in camp. And it's been some weeks that he's been able to even go out and really practice with these guys that we know of, and so. I think those are things that get worked out. I mean, J.C. Jackson seems to be like that dog that we all know who he is from the Patriots, and we hope that he's going to be able to pan out real well. And it seems like he will. I mean, once again, that long pass that was given up, it was a fingertip difference from making that batted pass. And so I'm not really concerned about it at all, and I think he'll be fine. I think this defense is going to be very, very good. It's only week 2, and I've always said it takes about 4 weeks for your team to really gel. And especially if you don't really play a lot during the preseason too, it's going to take a little time for everybody to kind of get it together. And so I think this is just something that you'll see a big difference next week versus the Jags. I mean, albeit I think there's a different talent level with the Jags versus the Chargers too. So, we'll see.
Yeah. I just think it hurts the most because we are playing a divisional team, right? And, the Chiefs are, that's the team we want to beat, right? I mean, that's I mean, make no mistake about it, guys. They're the ones that we're wanting to unseat in the AFC West, right? And it sucks when we are beating ourselves, which is exactly what we did. We beat ourselves, 100%. Yeah, but it's interesting. We talked a little bit about this earlier too, DZ, right? Staley's getting very conservative with his players on fourth downs, and look, when you look at the statistics, we're doing so much better on all 3 phases of the game. And I kind of understand why he has been more conservative because our defense is so much better. Our special teams is so much better. But it's a little weird, right? It's a little weird to see that with Staley. And again, like at the beginning, I really felt like we should have gone for it when we were on the 20-yard line at the very beginning, first quarter. So it's interesting, right? And James, you did a huge video, and guys, check that out. That video we did, I think, just yesterday. Pretty cool. I do believe that Staley's gotten a little conservative. But again, all 3 phases of the game are there, and statistically speaking, we'll be fine moving forward. But it is a little unnerving to see that for sure.
Yeah, and I think the thing is though with Brandon. I mean, in comparison to 2021 Brandon Staley to 2022 Brandon Staley, I mean, I feel like he's like, hey, look, I got the defense I want, and I feel they're going to do what I want them to do, and not allow them to get a touchdown, or the defense steps up to get the picks. Which, if you really look at where he's at, I mean, this game could be a completely different conversation for maybe even 2 of those picks that we were supposed to get, and even just say with that whole Bryce Callahan getting chucked. And then getting
such a weird situation. Yeah, it's so weird. Like, what happened there? Like,
a lot of people kept talking about the Asante Samuel interception, where he touched the ground with it. And a lot of people are saying, I don't know, man, that seems to be a pick because it seemed like he had control. It's not like the ground really basically helped him. He looked like he had control before that, but whatever. Those are things you could complain about, but that's just how the cookie crumbles. And it is what it is. But it is, if we had 2 of those picks, it would have been a different game at this point. It would have probably been a 14-point swing at that point. But it is what it is, and we just have to move on from that.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I mean, it would be a totally different conversation today, or even after the game and everything, if we got a couple of those calls for us. Whatever it was, the refs love throwing hankies when Mahomes throws a bad pass and gets picked. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, that's a meme I sent you guys, since the Bull Bros is hey, thanks for throwing penalties on those 3 interceptions. We couldn't have won without you guys, right? And I put that all over Facebook and all over social media because it was weird, right? And look, again, you don't want to put it on the refs, but at the end of the day, it's a little strange, right? So and it's still a bit of a head scratcher for me, DZ, as to why we brought up Moore instead of Bandy. I still don't fully understand why that happened. I felt like Bandy, he's a fan favorite for sure. Moore is just, he's a lot like he's a lot like a Palmer, or a Mike Williams, right? And that's great, but I think Bandy does things differently, right? So I'm really curious to see what happens with him, maybe this week. So and I apologize, guys. We've had some internet issues all day today for some reason. I don't know what's going on with it. It's pretty bad, but anyhow, hopefully it's not too bad on your end. And Guyton has been nowhere to be seen. Yeah, it's so shocking to me, and I'm like, I guess the point of this is this, guys, that offensively we're still struggling. Defensively, we're playing very well.
Yep.
Having said that, some of those calls didn't go our way, but for some reason our offense is still struggling, which is a little weird, right? Again, we're still scoring yards, we're doing whatever we need to do, but we're not putting up the points that we need to. The run game definitely needs to improve, 100%.
Yep.
So I don't know. I don't understand what's going on with Guyton either.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't know if he's not running his routes correctly, but he's not getting touches, which is really strange to me. So
right.
I don't know.
Right. Well, and the thing is, DeAndre Carter, for some reason or other, is just playing out of his mind right now.
Yeah.
And he's making some crazy good catches, and just phenomenal. It's been a giant surprise for us, more than just being a punt returner for us and kickoff returner. And I don't know, maybe it's just that point that, hey, DeAndre Carter's really just outplayed Guyton at this point and pushed Guyton back to wide receiver 5. The thing about it is Guyton brings a downfield presence. I mean, as we all remember, the Giants touchdown that he got last season against the Giants, that bomb that Justin Herbert threw out.
65 yards, right?
Phenomenal. Crazy. To see that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It is one of those things. Stretching the field and having a downfield guy is kind of necessary. I mean, DeAndre Carter's got some speed and everything, and he's had some great catches downfield, but there's a little bit more of like a let Herbert throw those Herbo bombs, and he's kind of Guyton seems to be the guy that he throws them to. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see in the next game if he does get a little bit more play out there.
Yeah. And it is interesting to see how that plays out. But you're right, Golden Kings. I mean, I'll tell you right now, not having Keenan and not having Parham has been huge. I think both of them are very good third down targets. Parham because he's so tall, right? Yep. He's very good at finding the soft spot in the zone, and Keenan is very good at finding a soft spot in the zone. So I do think that was a big problem for these last couple of games too. So, but it's frustrating. And then Trey McKitty, he's dropped so many balls. He's already dropped. Man, I can think of 3 or 4 balls he's dropped. I mean, he's probably the only wide receiver that keeps dropping balls that I've noticed for sure. I'm like, man, dude, like catch the damn ball. And a couple of them were just like lobs. They weren't even like lasers or anything. They weren't hard thrown balls or anything. So it's really strange to me that he's been that bad in that regard. So
Golden Kings brought up a little bit about how the running backs need to do well, or use the screen game to get Eck and Michael, Sony Michel in space. I said Michael. That's funny. But and that's the thing. I keep feeling like they're forgetting about how good Austin Eckler is in a screen game of whatnot, or pass catching ability. That's something that I think that is interesting that they have not used. And I know they're kind of using this running back by committee situation with Sony Michel, Joshua Kelly, and Austin Eckler. Get Eck the ball somewhere or another. And late in the game, we started seeing that where they're like, oh, let's give it to Eckler, and he's doing his thing. And he did Austin Eckler things, found ways to get past people, make people miss tackles, get some long yak, basically. And so I love that term, yak.
It just sounds so funny. Yeah.
But that's something that I think they are missing, and they're forgetting about it for some reason. So I don't really understand that. But that's something that needs to be done. Remember, Austin Eckler had 20 total touchdowns last season, and we haven't even got one at all this season.
Yep.
So it needs to change. It needs to change next week against the Jags for sure.
Yeah. I mean, and again, I really hope that, with this long week, I mean, this is considered, good rest time for a lot of our players. It's a good thing that this is happening. I think we'll probably be okay, against the Jags specifically, but, I think bottom line, they need to sit down and figure out what's going on with the offense, because I just don't understand why it's been so bad. Now, again, it's week 2, guys, right? And we are still scoring points. But we're still giving up as many points as we are scoring, right? And so that's frustrating. We're giving up a lot of points, and so it's frustrating to see where we stand in that regard. All right, so let's go to Aether's question. I have a question, 2 parts, please. First, our offense needs to run the ball Sunday. Man up. I agree, 100%. It's been frustrating that we have just not run the ball. And the blitz defense, I will say this, I think our defense has been playing very well. We're just not getting, the stats are good, but it could be a lot better, right? I mean, those 4 interceptions. I mean, there was even a couple of dropped interceptions week 1 as well, too. And it's like, God, guys, catch the damn ball. And it's just been so weird. But yeah, we got to get back to running the ball, especially with Herbert being hurt, right?
Exactly.
That's a concern. The run game needs to step up, right? But our blitz is doing fairly well. I think we're looking pretty good defensively.
Yeah. With Herbert being injured, this is when the running game and the short passing game has to step up. That's
100%.
That is absolutely going to be the game plan next week, which, going back to Michael Bandy, that would be kind of a good reason why to have him up. If Keenan Allen can't play, that would be a great reason to be able to bring up Michael Bandy, because he'll be good for that third down, short kind of situations, or to get the first down or whatnot. He will be a good positional player for us to be able to continue drives. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes with them. But for the defensive side of things, I feel like we are getting quite a bit of pressure, and we are doing really well in that game. The thing that I've really liked so far is seeing a lot of Kyle Van Noy going up the middle and Fox going up the middle, and finding a way and getting those holes to be able to put that added pressure in the middle to be able to allow Bosa and Mac to be able to come around the edges to consume them. Now, there was an issue within the Chiefs game where we were doing that, but allowing a gaping hole in the middle at the same time, which allowed Patrick Mahomes to have 2 touchdowns basically on the Mahomes magic kind of passes. So
for sure,
make something out of nothing kind of thing. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I think that's kind of the issue that I felt like, right? Again, statistically speaking, it'll come into our favor. Again, we're doing much better, right? I mean, all 3 phases of the game, we're doing a lot better at this point. So, and Horror Channel, you're exactly right. We should smash the Jags for sure. I mean, guys, I to some degree, as conservative as Staley's been with injuries this season so far, there is a chance that Herbert doesn't play this next week, which I wouldn't want to see that happen for sure. I mean, you could start your Chase Daniel or whatnot, but I hope that doesn't happen, because again, it's the Jags, and we should smoke them pretty easy, even with a bad running game and so on and so forth. But it'll be interesting to see what happens this next week for sure.
And one thing, and I know we didn't chat too much about this, but we chatted a little bit about the defense, and I kind of dug in a little bit on the stats on some of these players here too. And it's funny because when I was watching the game, I was like, man, Asante Samuel's really getting picked on a lot.
Yep.
And his PFF rating, which I think is funny because I don't really understand where they're getting some of these ratings, but he was actually he was actually our top ranked player.
Yeah, 87.7%.
Yeah. And so he had
what's his
36. Yeah, it's crazy. 36 coverage snaps, 50% forced incompletion percentage, only allowed 1 first down, and then had 2 interceptable passes dropped. So even for not catching a pass, you get percentage points, I'm assuming. But I guess it's more of like positional with these guys. And I mean, to me, the thing about Asante Samuel, he is so close to being like this massively elite based cornerback for us.
Yep.
And so he is very, very close. And I really liked when his dad played for the Patriots and I believe it was the Eagles. He was just a ball hawk. And you could see those streaks that was Asante Samuel Jr. is doing, that he is that close to doing that. Now, one of those interceptions, the one that got called back for hitting the ground, I feel he was shocked that ball even came to him.
Yeah.
Because really, I don't know where he was even throwing it to or anything like that. So I kind of give a little bit of pass, but that pick six that could have been in the end zone, that one should have happened too.
100%.
That one should have happened. But hey, he better go on the practice field and catch 200 something passes right now.
Diamond. So no, and it's interesting though, and I'm looking at these PFF rankings right now. Joey Bosa's at 83.9, Rashawn Slater 81.8, Mike Williams 81.8, Gerald Everett 74.7, Khalil Mack is 72.9, which is weird to me. Why would he be under Joey Bosa? I would think he'd be right around the same score. So that's a little strange to me. Callahan, I mean, he's 65 coverage snaps, 2 catches allowed, one INT, 6.3 passer rating allowed to lockdown. I mean, dude, Callahan's been amazing, right? His biggest problem is he's had some injuries. So hopefully it doesn't happen with him this season. So look, we're trending the right direction as a team. Okay. I do think our offense right now is definitely struggling. And again, Carter and Horvath have been great surprises for us this season. I mean, it's amazing. Guys, at the end of the day, the team needs to gel together. I still feel like there's, you always want to play your best offense at the end of the season. Luckily for us, we're playing some pretty crappy teams right now for the next couple of games. So that's a good thing for us, right? The only real team that is a concern to me would be the Denver Broncos, and that's what, week 6? Is that week 6 at this point?
Yep.
So that's the first one that I'm like, now then you got Kansas City, who's playing their hardest part of the schedule right now, which is probably in favor for us because I don't think they're really doing that great offensively either. So anyhow, so interesting thing to discuss for sure. Golden Kings, we need our RBs to do well. Screen game, Eck, yes. Sony Michel in space. Guys, like, especially with this week, Herbert cannot take hits. He cannot. He needs to just, move, avoid hits 110% and just get the ball out of his hands, right? So they need to worry. They need to worry about him, taking any kind of shots, right? So yes, 100%. I mean, James, what are your other thoughts at this point? Like, what could we do differently? If I feel like it's the same every time we're doing an RPO and Herbert hasn't been running, but I don't feel like the run game is just gelling. I mean, is that the offensive line issue, or do you think that's just the play calling issue? I think it's a mixture of both, but I mean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it seems to be truly a mixture of both. I mean, how many times do we see a 3rd and short and they run the ball right up the gut and they're like, all right, we're going for it on 4th. Let's do the same exact play call right up the 100%. Gut. Basically.
Yeah.
And it becomes a little bit more like people just understand what we're trying to do. Basically, it becomes very predictable. And so the thing about it is like we need to be a little bit more inventive on our play calls. I mean, our left side of our offensive line was our strength last year. Maybe we need to go a little bit more on that side. Maybe we need to run right behind, Zion Johnson. Because, I mean, he's basically been a really, really good defender. I mean, we've been pretty excited about him after 2 weeks.
Guys, he's fantastic.
Mount Zion over here killing him.
Mount Zion, dude.
So I do think there needs to be a little bit more. And some people were even talking about Joshua Kelly getting a little bit more reps. he looked pretty good. He's been getting some good rips. He is playing with a different type of style than we've seen. He's got a little bit more of a tenacity built into him or something.
Yeah.
He seems like he's getting his legs churning and he's getting his legs going. He's not slowing down. He's hitting the holes correctly. And I think that he's solid. So I think we need to scale it down with the amount of backs and the amount of touches they get. I think that we just need to start working a little bit, maybe even a little bit more additional coverage on a tight end on the side that we're going to go run or rotate to, but we'll see. I mean, that's something that needs to get fixed, and it needs to happen against the Jags, because this is really something that has to happen against the Jags. Because obviously we can't, like you said, Herbert can't get hit at all. We need to keep him clean.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the game plan. Just get the ball out fast, and just leave it at that, right? Yeah, and you're right. The running game needs to be there too, and again, that's Marty ball, right? Old Marty Schottenheimer, R.I.P. Really and truly get a lead and move forward. But guys, I want to see us put people to sleep, dude. Just done. Yeah. Game is over. It is sealed in the third quarter, and we could just go take our shots of vodka or whatever and just move on, do our own thing, right? And move on. But unfortunately, we're keeping teams around it, and I agree. Golden Kings as well too. Eckler commands attention. It does soften up the secondary because he is so elusive, right? And that's the thing. Kelly's great, but he's a very north and south type of runner. Eckler is more of he bounces around like a jackrabbit and finds holes. And, I think it's partially because of his size too, right? He's a smaller guy. And, he's very good at that too. So, I think that's great. And by the way, I think it does sound like Keenan will most likely play this week. Again, no real update at this point, but it does sound like Keenan. I actually think Keenan probably could have played this last week, but I think that they sat him out for, just precautionary reasons. But yes, I think Keenan should be playing against the Jags for sure. Yep. And Parham, for whatever reason, Parham is just taking on forever. It's just, he must have really hurt his hamstring. What has been 3 weeks now, 4 weeks at this point, almost a month at this point.
It's been 6 weeks or something, because it was in training camp. So it's been a while.
Yep. Yeah. And so it's really interesting. And again, those are going to be the big questions, guys, right? I think Parham and Keenan are both, are third down, safety valves, right? So, it's interesting. And again, yes, we already talked about this, Deshaun. Yeah. Start Bandy. Again, when we talk about the Chiefs game, I really do believe that the biggest problem was we had no third down options, and that's Parham and that's Allen. So that, again, if you look at the stats on that, we were 4 for 21 or something like that in third down conversions. So we had a lot of first downs because we got them at first and second downs, but we didn't convert well in third. So that was hard for us. And I think that's really missing Allen for sure. And also Parham. Yeah, let's see what else we got here. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that, James?
Fourth down. It's funny because also Andy Reid was kind of conservative in that game too. It's almost like they were respecting each other's games in a weird way. So I really think we need to play our style of game. And I really feel like it has to be back to that fourth down and Staley game. And maybe it could be selective to what opponent we're playing also too. But like I said, we got to do it early on in the game. I'm a big fan of going for it early on in the game. If you make a mistake, you have plenty of time to make up from it. And, 100%. In the end with this game, like I said in the video, 3 points didn't matter in that game anyways. It didn't matter at all. And to beat the Chiefs, I feel like you have to score touchdowns on them. Plain and simple. I understand people like field goals, and I understand when field goals are kind of critical at some point, but I feel like at the point in the grand scheme of things and the ending of things, it didn't matter if we hit that field goal or not. If we got 7, it might have been a difference to this game. So
100%, we would have won the game. Yeah. And again, I do believe at the very beginning when we kicked that field goal, we should have gone for it and, try to get a touchdown. I feel like that was the right thing. Yeah, Horvath and Eckler should give us a good running game. Yeah, I agree. So Josh Palmer, Gerald Everett, Mike Williams should provide great reception yardage and touchdowns both up. I agree. Look, the one thing that has been strange for me though, why are we not doing these jet sweeps with Gerald Everett? Like we haven't done any of that stuff. We haven't, he likes to consider himself an athlete, and he really is. Like the guy is an absolute athlete. He's not really a tight end. He's really a wide receiver. It's really what he is. But it's strange to me that we haven't done more creative type of offensive calls with him specifically. So I would like to see that definitely, change up. And again, this goes back to the frustrations with Joe Lombardi. I just don't know. He's not calling good games. He's not calling good games, in my opinion. So let me put it this way. When I am sitting there going, oh, this is a run play, the defense knows this is a run play, right? Yeah. Like, okay. Yeah. I'm not that smart, guys. And at the end of the day, it's like, if I can tell it's a run play, then dude, they know it's a run play. So it's just unfortunate, right? I feel like it's been frustrating.
And that's a great point, man. And that's the thing. Like one thing that I said that I want to see from the Chargers is basically just destroy opponents and not sleep on anybody. Now it'll be interesting to see how coming against the Jags and going against the Texans, are we going to sleep on them? Because last year we slept against the Texans and we got smoked. So that was the most frustrating game. That game made us lose the ability to go to the playoffs.
Yeah, 100%.
That was so frustrating to see. So, yeah, all gas, no brakes, right?
All gas, no brakes. Or is it all ass, no brakes? Anyways, here we go. First. No. First, coach said I want to see how our defensive played early in the season. Second, I think the coach wants our other team to think he's not going for it. And then boom. I agree. I do believe though that bottom line. Look, we were 4-4 on fourth down this last game, right? So that's great statistics. And I think for whatever reason, Herbert does a great job of making that happen when he needs to. But again, guys, part of the reason why we're doing this as well too, we want to review our statistics. We are doing very well statistically speaking compared to last season. Special teams is way improved. We're near the top, but top 10 in special teams. Defense, top 10 in defense, and we could even be better, right? Offensively, we're still top 10. So we're trending the right direction, especially against these two teams. And I understand why he would be a little more conservative because we're doing so much better on both sides of the ball on all phases of the game. But still, all gas, no brakes. Let's get it. Let's put these guys to sleep and move and just get it over with.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, man. I tell you what, dude.
He's solid.
So solid, dude. Pablo, I'm telling you right now, man, he's so good. He's so good. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
we'll see how it goes. Long season still ahead. Last season he had a lot of concussions and everything too. So it kind of threw off his season a bit, but I think he's got a great trend towards that to be able to be a Pro Bowler.
Yeah. And I do think Corey and Trey will probably be back. They don't seem like major injuries, but I asked myself this question, why did they go out the way they did? Right. And again, the game completely changed specifically when Corey went out. The protection on the line was not good, and Clapp is a good backup, but he's not Corey Linsley, right? He's a Pro Bowl center. And, I don't think their injuries are too severe, right? So will probably be there for the Jags game, which would be interesting to see. So, and we'll keep you updated on that for sure, guys, as more information is coming in. Yeah. And you're right, DZ, they are day to day at this point. Let's see. And Nibs, we talked about this a little bit as well too. Play calling's been horrible, man. I get really frustrated where we're at. I mean, defensively we're playing great, but good God, man, like why is our play calling? And so it's vanilla. That's a good way of describing it. It's very vanilla. It's like I know what we're doing, and I'm a nobody, right? The defense knows what we're doing as well too. So yeah, it's been frustrating. Okay, let's wrap up with Aether's question here. All right, so James, this is a question directed towards you. So let's what are your thoughts on this?
So let me ask you this Sunday, if our offense struggled how long Coach Staley will keep Lombardi because the quarterback coach would take the job. Yeah, we've talked a little bit about Shane Day.
Yep, we have. Yep.
And, he comes from the Niners system, the Shanahan system over there. I don't know. And like I said, I believe I chatted with you a little bit on this too, Aether, that I think that what it's going to end up being is if there's going to be a switch, it would be at the bye week. And that's the right time to make shifts because there's a little bit more time to work on a system and work on kind of what's going to be the right bet. I mean, I'm sure they probably will just take Lombardi's, playbook, and it's just a different mind running that playbook basically at that point. So, so if there's going to be a change, it's going to be around the bye week. So that's where I think it'll be. So we will see where it leads. I mean, you would think next 2 games we should have an offensive explosion, but we'll see. We'll see. But bye week will be the time that it would happen.
Yeah, I agree. Now, and I will say this to you guys, right? Like, as much as we want to just rip his head off of his body because we're so frustrated. Because look, guys, we have high expectations for this team. Let's make no mistake about it. Like, we expect to win every game. And it's just frustrating when you kind of feel like I feel like Justin Herbert is like a rabid junkyard dog and we're holding him back on a leash, right? And he's wanting to bite, and he's over there just, I want to do this. And then, but they keep holding him back for what reason? I don't understand, and to me, I think that's the frustration. Maybe we'll end on this. This is the frustration that I have. Everyone knows how good Justin Herbert is. And by the way, the fact that he got hurt, oh my God, dude, it's funny. Yeah. You read every article. Everyone's so pissed off. Like, we want to see this guy play. We want to see this guy play. He's that good. Nobody wants to see a timid Charger team. Nobody wants to see that. Everyone wants to see all gas, no brakes Charger team. That's what everyone keeps talking about, 100%. Yep. And it's like, why are we acting? We're playing timid. We're playing not to lose, and that frustrates me, right? Because that's not how we should play. So those are my final thoughts. What are your thoughts there, James? And guys, thank you so much for joining on. Again, hit that like and subscribe for sure. We're going to keep throwing more content. What are your thoughts there, James?
Yeah, just kind of wrap it up here. The concern that I've had, and Joe Lombardi's obviously been in the system for a very long time within the Saints system and everything. So you think, hey, he's going to know what he's going to do. He knows. He's had a really good mind that he's worked under and everything that he's going to do well. But once again, he doesn't have that mind here with him anymore. So that different system, different coach now that he's under, it's kind of like his thing kind of thing. So it kind of makes me always think like, man, what if you did have one of those kind of guys that is like an older coach that say like a Doug Peterson, who we're going to play against with the Jags last week. And we had him coaching up as an offensive coordinator of Justin Herbert. What would he do with Justin Herbert? Because right now, even what Lombardi's talking about is this is offense 202. I don't know. We got to get to just graduate school and start just ramping this thing up because we're not in a sophomore season basically with your offense because we need to get to basically a senior level, graduate school, PhD level. We got to get to that kind of level with this type of offense and open it up. And I think that's what Lombardi is not doing. He is being conservative for some reason with a guy who has tremendous talent.
Yes.
And so we have to see that. We have got to see that. His next 2 weeks are going to tell us a little bit more about how he wants to play. And once again, Brandon Staley talks about we need to play our brand of football too. When I read that, it's we don't want to play to our opponent's level. We want to play our level of football. And I feel like sometimes we still are trying to play to the opponent's level, not our level brand of football. And so we need to get back to that. We need to see fourth and Staley. We need to see those things that we take those chances and risk. We need to see the ball downfield. We need to see Herbo bombs. So
Herbo bombs, dude.
Let's make it happen.
Exactly. I feel like, a lot of people don't know what this team is right now, and it's frustrating. But, again, statistically speaking, we're doing very well. But we need to get back to what got us here. And it's all gas, no brakes, guys. All gas, no brakes. And so, again, I'm very curious to see what we hear from Staley this week, what the game plan is moving forward with the Jags. We will keep you posted. As you guys always know, we're the Bull Bros, though. James and Andrew, we are the Bull Bros.
And Kyle's out.
Kyle's out, yeah. So just so you know, guys, Kyle's on set right now. So he's, I guess he's meeting with Seth Green. What kind of I guess Seth Green's a Raiders fan. Isn't that what he said?
I have no idea. I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea.
So,
I don't know, but he's on set with Seth Green right now, so I'm assuming it's some comedy show of some sort.
Some comedy show, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and again, just so you guys know, James and I, we're in technology sales, and Kyle actually works in the Hollywood arena, right? So he's the one, editing these videos and so on and so forth. So, anyways, a little information about Kyle and us, but yeah, again, guys, love chatting with you guys. Yep. Leave your questions down below if you want to see some more content. Actually, if you have some ideas on things you want us to do videos on, let us know. I love your questions, right? So if you have some thoughts, put them down below, and we'll do some separate videos. So
let's do it.
All righty, guys. As always, bolt up. We the best.
Bolt Bros.
Chargers.
Bolt up. Don't punt. Let's go.
Bolt up. Don't punt. I love it. See you guys in the next one.
See you guys.